All right. So first I want to thank everybody for joining us today. My name is John Michael. I am a Senior Account Executive over here at OfficeTools. I've been with the company for about 6 years now, traveling to multiple trade shows, speaking at conferences, things like that, and also presenting our practice management software, which is what we're going to be doing today. So I've got a couple of slides, and then we're going to dive right into the software. We're going to leave about 10 minutes at the very end for some questions and answers. So as we're going through the demonstration, feel free to start collecting some questions, some things you want to ask, and we'll be sure to leave a little bit of time at the end for some questions and answers. So OfficeTools is practice management software. And in our profession, that term gets thrown around quite a bit, and sometimes inappropriately. And when I say that, what I mean is, if you're looking at practice management software, by its very definition, it needs to be software wherein you can manage the practice. What does that mean? That means we're going to take all of the things that are done in an accounting firm, workflow, tracking work, delegating tasks, tracking your time, creating invoices, managing your documents, managing your customer information, your calendars, all those things that are being done in every accounting office, and we're going to put it into one single screen application. When the software was originally designed about 20 years ago, the gentleman that designed the software named Mike, he was doing IT for accounting firms. And he noticed a trend. There was a trend that there's not really any kind of comprehensive single screen firm management software, and so he found that to be an issue, a hurdle to overcome, and he designed the software all those years ago. And the benefits of having a single screen application such as OfficeTools is, the first one, obviously we're going to eliminate redundant databases. We shouldn't be tracking our workflow in one software, tracking our time in a different software, and then invoicing out of a different software even from that. And then you have your separate document management and all these other pieces. So rather than having redundancy, we're just going to have it all in one single screen application. We're gonna give you back billing opportunities. So time that we miss out on manual processes and not having things that are automated processes, the efficiency that we lose out on that, and the hours, the billable time that we spend on these manual processes, that we can give back by having something that's automated and creating efficiency in the office. Also, we're keeping track of everything. And you may be a large firm, you may be a small firm, and you may be thinking to yourself, you know what, maybe we don't really track time. Or, yeah, you know what, we've got our document management system and it works fine, and we track our projects and our engagements in an Excel routing sheet or something like that. But we miss out when that happens, again, on that billable time, and then, trying to find things like documents when a client calls in and wants a status. We've got to try to get a hold of the preparer, find out the status, put the client on hold, and then that's a customer experience we want to try to eliminate. So something like practice management software empowers the firm to work as one, so that anybody who answers the phone, anybody who talks to a customer can provide that top-level customer service. Also, it's a due date monitoring system, so we're not going to miss any deadlines and due dates. If you've ever experienced this, you already know how horrible it is and how expensive it is to miss those deadlines. Individual returns, corporate returns, those are simple, right? But fiduciaries, the things with the fiscal year, returns of the fiscal year, those types of returns, we need those reminders to make sure that nothing gets missed, nothing slips through the cracks. And it also allows you to manage your practice at the absolute highest level of efficiency, because again, it's all happening in one single screen application. So now we're going to go ahead and dive on into the software. We're going to take a look at the software in its entirety. Obviously, a software so robust, we're not going to be able to cover quite everything, but we do have personal web demonstrations that we offer the account executives and the representatives over here at OfficeTools. We do personal online over the phone demonstrations. So we're going to do a broad overview today of the software. Like I said, we're going to leave some time at the end for some questions and answers. However, I'm going to let you all know exactly how you can go about getting a more intimate, more personal demonstration of the software, so that we, as OfficeTools representatives, can find out a little bit about you. How does your firm track your work, and where are you experiencing pain points during tax season and throughout the year? And then we can provide a comprehensive demonstration of the software. So of course, like I said, we will. I'll be sure to notify you all as to how we can go about requesting that. So let's go ahead and take a look. What we're looking at right now is the single screen interface. We can pretty much break this down into 3 easy parts. The first part is going to be the contact list right over here on the left. I say contact list, not client list, on purpose, because this OfficeTools, as well as all the things I mentioned, it is a full CRM system as well. CRM standing for Contact Relationship Management. So that means we're going to have not only our clients, but we have our prospects, our vendors, our legal parties, our attorneys, shareholders, and bankers. Anybody that we're going to contact on any kind of basis is what makes up this list. Now, of course, we can group these contacts together. Any good CRM allows you to send out email campaigns and mailers and things like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to establish contact groups. So ABC Company, I do their taxes, but I also do bookkeeping for them. They also receive my monthly newsletter. So when I want to send out the newsletter, I select that contact group, and it goes to ABC Company as well as anyone else who belongs to that group. So when we import the contact information, we establish those groups, we establish relationships, right? So if ABC Company has maybe 15 different LLCs, we establish those as relationships, all happening here in this contact list. Now the second part is this main screen here in the middle with the 9 tabs. These 9 tabs all talk to each other. It's something called internal integration, and it's invaluable. And internal integration means having your workflow, your time and billing, and your document management, all those things we mentioned, not only in one system, but talking to one another. So when we're tracking our work, we're at the same time tracking our time. And we've got documents tied into that, so we don't need to go hunt those down. And of course, I'm going to show you what that internal integration looks like. But remember, these 9 tabs, yes, they talk to each other. They are talking about whoever's selected over here on the left. So if ABC Company calls in for a status, we go to ABC Company. We can jump over to phone calls and see, what was the last thing that we talked to them about, the partner, the preparer who's in charge of their tax return, whoever it is that's working on ABC Company right now. We can, with one click, find out what was said. And also we can jump over and get a status of their engagement, whatever it may be. Or maybe even more importantly, go over to billing and see if they owe us any money. And if they're coming in, we make sure we remind them to bring a check, right? And any documents, everything relates to whoever selected over here on the left. Now the third part is the activity list right down here at the bottom. This part of our software is extremely popular amongst our clients. It's a great tool within this software because this is completely staff driven. This is me, John Michael. I sign in this morning. I know that I have an interview for this corporate tax return with ABC Company. Also, of course, it matches up with my calendar when he's coming in for his interview today at 1 o'clock. I also know that I need to send out an engagement letter. I'm reviewing an S-Corp return, chasing down some missing info. All of these tasks are mine, because this is me. When I sign in, I know exactly what I need to do. I'm not asking anybody. I'm not going to one of the partners and asking for work. I know exactly what's going on. And then me, as the owner of my firm, I can look at my staff and see, okay, what does everybody else have on their list? Because I have a full list. So if I jump over to one of my staff members, like David Alexander perhaps, who has only 2 items on his list, I can then very quickly right-click one of my items. I'm not going to file for this federal employee ID number. I'm going to go ahead and right-click and reassign that over to David because David's plate is a lot less full than mine. And then it immediately jumps off of my list, goes right over to David's list. He can get an audible notification, but again, it's going to put that right on his activity list in real time. I also know who the client I'm doing work for, as well as any time budgeted for that work and a priority level. So if I want to sort my list by level of priority, I can do that, or by due date range and things like that, things coming up due soonest, right? Now, also from this list, we track time. Now, I've been consulting in the accounting profession for a long time now. I talk to many accountants, and I hear a lot people say, you know what, we don't really track our time, or we're trying to move away from tracking our time. We more value bill, or we flat fee bill, or we can kind of estimate what something's going to cost. And I've always kind of preached against that. And the reason being is because if I'm doing work for ABC Company, if I'm doing a corporate tax return for ABC Company, and I'm also doing one for XYZ Company, but ABC Companies takes twice as long as XYZ Company, then there's no reason that they should be getting the same invoice number, the same bill. And unless we're tracking our time, we don't know that. So what we're going to do is we're going to track our time here in OfficeTools, and we can do it a few different ways because, again, and speaking with the accountants in the profession, most of the time it's, we don't track time because it's really just, it's too difficult. It's too difficult to track time. I have to write it down and then give it to the billing manager who keys it into QuickBooks and then draws up an invoice in QuickBooks, and it's just a whole process. That's why. So in OfficeTools, we have the option to manually key it in by going into the Time tab. We also have timers, which can be activated anywhere in the system, even from the activity list, and they're integrated timers. So while I'm reviewing this S-Corp return for California Oil Company, I'm going to right-click and start a timer, and it already knows me, it knows the client, it knows what I'm working on, what I'm doing for that project, and I can make my notes, and it tracks that time against the project itself. We can run multiple timers as well. We're not limited to just one. Now, another way we can track time is just by simply checking an item off the list. For instance, if I did payroll early for Your Family Gym, I go to my list, I check it off, and then the system's going to prompt a time card. It knows it's billable. Again, it knows it's me. It knows the client. So I can just say I spent an hour. It immediately goes to my timesheet, and it's immediately going into the billing tab for that client as WIP, as billable time. There's no releasing WIP or anything like that. It's called real-time time tracking. As soon as I check that off and put in my time, it's on my timesheet, and it's in there as time to be billed. And because I do payroll every other Thursday, I know that this payroll activity is just going to show up on my list on its own in a couple of Thursdays, so I don't have to think about it. I know it's Wednesday, but remember, I did it a day early. Now, we can also track time by just a simple right click and creating a time card. For instance, I'm reviewing this S-Corp. I didn't finish it. It's time to go home. Right click, create a time card. That way I can still track time against that company and against that job, against that engagement, but it's not leaving my list because I'm not done. I know, leaving at 5 o'clock during tax season sounds like a dream, but it can be a reality for sure. Now, we talked about time tracking, and we talked about it tracking time against the actual engagement itself. And here's where that becomes so important, is because when I go to look at my engagement, for instance, this corporate tax return for Melvin's Paint Shop, I've got my estimated fee of $3,000 in here. But like I said, the system knows me and what my time is worth based on the work I'm doing. Obviously, my billable rate for tax prep is going to be higher than my billable rate for bookkeeping, and the system knows that. So that all I have to do is check it off, it fills in the work code for me, and it tracks that time against that project. So I have my estimated fee in here, and maybe this rolled over from last year, but I've got it in here, and it knows my billable hours. So when I track that time, I get an immediate update to my budget. Now let's quickly talk about workflow. Workflow is a huge part of our software. That's where we've won a lot of awards, is for workflow. And the way that we manage workflow is by setting up these projects to have individual templates associated with each one. Now, remember, this is a software designed specifically for the accounting profession. So it comes preloaded with a lot of different types of projects or engagement, various tax prep, audits, bookkeeping, financial planning, all kinds. But the idea is to spend some time with our implementation specialists in customizing this list. So for instance, here at my little fake firm called Wells & Associates, that's my last name, we do a corporate tax return, and the way we do it is by first interviewing the client, then we scan their documents in. And little side note here, I won't chase a rabbit, but if you're not doing front-end scanning, I would highly, highly, highly recommend it. Because what you can do is you can scan those documents related to this project directly to the project itself. We can tie all those pertinent documents right to that project, so when this gets passed off to the next person, again, they don't have to go looking for those documents or open up some redundant database where documents are being stored and try to locate it. It's just right here, ready to be clicked and ready to be found. So we scan the documents, we input it into the tax software, figure out what's missing, send it over to maybe a partner or one of the preparers to review it. We've got this workflow built in. So as we work through these jobs, this workflow is prompted, as is the time tracking. And let me show you what that looks like. So when Mr. Melvin from Melvin's Paint Shop calls in and wants a status of his return, anybody who answers the phone can say, okay, Melvin, I can help you. John Michael's busy right now, but I can help you. What do you need? I need a status of my return. Well, it looks like we're waiting on, it's a good thing you called because we're waiting on some missing information, specifically bank statements from the last 3 months. Melvin says, well, how come John Michael never told me? Well, I've got a system here that allows me to view all the activity that's been going on, so I can see, you know what, through our Outlook integration, when he emailed you, that email automatically stuck here. It automatically attached in the system. And I can see that he actually emailed you about those bank statements. As a matter of fact, through this internally integrated system, I can also see that he's been calling you about that missing information. So Melvin, let's go ahead and get those bank statements in so we can finish your tax return. So Melvin sends in his bank statements. We attach it right to the project, of course. And now this is ready to be moved to the next person. So I've received the missing information. I'm going to go down to my activity list, and I'm going to check that off. Now, the first thing that happens, you already know. It's going to prompt that time card. But remember what I said, we're tracking time against the project. So when I say I spent an hour on this, it's going to immediately update my budget while at the same time prompting the next logical step. So the preparer in this instance is Philip Smith, so I'm going to send it over to him to review it and push OK. And then that immediately goes over to Philip's activity list to review it. Philip then clicks on it, and now Philip can see all the documents related. He can also see everything that's been done on this project so far, how much time it took, did we come in on budget, did we come under budget, over, whatever the case may be, any notes that were made. So if it took 2 hours to scan, 2.5 hours to scan, hopefully Mark left a note as to why. Or all these times we were chasing down missing information. Well, you know what, Melvin was non-responsive on the phone or email, whatever the case may be. Now, it's also important to know that these projects will roll forward to the following year when appropriate. So as soon as I complete this 2017 tax return, I've got a 2018 tax return loaded, and it remembers how much time we spent last year, what did it cost the firm based on what I paid my staff, as well as what did we end up charging for that last year for this project, whatever the project may be. Now, for myself as the owner of my firm, or as maybe a manager, I have the option to come into this window here, which gives me my 30,000-foot view. All the things that are happening in Wells & Associates right now, what's going on with them, with the option for filters. We can filter any one of these headers. And then to create an invoice, we simply go up here, and once this says bill the client, that part of the workflow, we go up, we click invoice now. However, if we are billing on a project basis, that's how we would do that. If we're billing our time, we go into the billing tab. Let's go to somebody with some billable time. And then we can write some of this off if we want to, reassign it to the firm, or we just click invoice now and bill it all. And then it creates an invoice for that total of WIP or for that pre-agreed fee from the project standpoint. And I've got that invoice, and it's going to pre-fill the description. We're taking the billing process from manually typing those up to one click. And of course, we've also got the option to send out those invoices. We can batch email them. We can sync them over to QuickBooks as well as the payments. We can send those invoices up to the portal for payment as well. So I know I'm running a little low on time, but I want to quickly go through these tabs. Just very quick, we're going to briefly mention them. A lot of them are self-explanatory, like the Notes tab. We've got notes on our clients. To-dos are a one-off task. We're now going to track all of our phone calls. So we've got a full audit trail of all the phone communication with our client. We've got a calendar that syncs up with Outlook. So if I put something on one of the preparer's calendar for today, it's going to go right to his cell phone through that Outlook integration. And then finally, we've got a full document management system in here as well that integrates with our portal. So when my client says, send me my tax return, I find that tax return in here. I can type it in a smart search, or I can filter down and then send it up to the portal. Our portal also does allow for e-signatures as well as online appointment requests and bill pay as well. So now I'm going to look and see if we've got any questions. All right, let's see what we've got here. Okay, so somebody asked to go into the portal a little bit further. Okay, so our portal allows for secure document transfer. It also allows for the e-signatures. We are able to send invoices up to the portal as well. So folks have the option. Granted, you will need to talk to one of the OfficeTools representatives to find out exactly how we integrate with your merchant service account, or if you're going to use ours, or whatever the case may be. It allows you to take payment on the portal. Our portal also allows for online scheduling, like I said, so we can go in here and we can say, okay, during tax season, I'm taking clients Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 12 to 5. So my clients, they're just going to go right to my website, they're going to log into the portal, and they can request their appointments right from there. Our portal also allows for a kiosk check-in system. You may have seen this at your chiropractor, maybe your dentist or something like that, but when ABC Company walks in for that 1 o'clock appointment, he's going to be met with a tablet that has an intake form already preloaded on it. So he checks in for that appointment, he fills out that intake form, and as soon as he signs that and clicks submit, I'm going to get a pop-up window here in OfficeTools that lets me know that ABC Company is in my lobby, and then that intake form is just going to automatically attach right to that appointment, as well as be placed into the document management system, part of the software. The portal also allows for mobile time tracking. So I can pull out my cell phone, I can pull out my tablet, I can, as an employee at Wells & Associates, I can pull out my tablet or laptop or whatever phone, anything with internet, I can log into the portal and I can track my time, and all that time will sync right back to the system. And then finally with the portal, it also does allow for automated email and text message reminders. We can have up to 3 emails and 1 text per appointment type. So ABC Company, they're going to get an email a month before, they're going to get an email 2 weeks before, another email the day before, and then a text message the day of, because the last thing I want is for him to miss that appointment. All right. I've got another question here. Oh, this is a good question, because this is a segue into one other thing that Abacus Next with OfficeTools is able to offer. Now, OfficeTools is what's called an on-premise software. It's a desktop software, but it is fully cloud-enabled. And Abacus Next, what we do over here at Abacus is we offer a private cloud option for not only hosting OfficeTools, but the entirety of the applications within your firm. So the idea is not only just having your software be in the cloud, but really it's your whole, it's technology as a service. It's taking all your applications, we're getting rid of those antiquated servers that we have to constantly cool and maintain and upgrade and purchase new ones. And instead of doing all of that, we're going to take all our entire infrastructure and put it into a private cloud environment, rather than a public cloud. Private cloud means that you've got that added layer of security. You're able to, it's literally a server built just for your office. Your data is never going to be bumping up against somebody else's data. It's your own private cloud server that we host. We monitor it 24/7 in our Tier 5 data center using our top-level firewall to make sure that you do not get hit with any kind of ransomware, malware, cyber criminal activity. That's what we're protecting against. And as I'm sure you may know, the accounting profession is being targeted very heavily right now because you all have such data-rich environments. And so folks are going after the accounting profession. So that's why so many of the OfficeTools clients have already moved into the private cloud with their software. And of course, if you'd like to discuss that further at the time of the demonstration, feel free to bring that up to the person that you're speaking with. And again, here very shortly, I'm going to tell you how exactly you can do that. All right, I've got another question here. Somebody asked, what tax software do we integrate with? That's a great question. So we integrate with, we're gold level partners with both Intuit and Microsoft. So we're going to have an integration with Outlook, like I already mentioned. Any version of Outlook we integrate with. The integration allows for the calendars to be synced up. The contact information will sync. And then if we want, we can have emails on a contact-by-contact basis. We can have those emails automatically copied in to the document management system. And again, it's on a contact-by-contact basis. I've got ABC Company here, who they're a high-level client. So all of their correspondence, whether it's from me or any of my members here at my firm, anything sent or received is just going to be copied right into the OfficeTools document management system through that Outlook integration. We also integrate with QuickBooks, as I mentioned, for both invoices as well as payments we receive. We have a full integration with a tax software I'm sure you're familiar with called Lacert, made by Intuit. But we do talk to just about any tax software. And when I say that, what I mean is we've got customers, we've got clients that use a variety. Every tax software out there we have clients using, working alongside OfficeTools. And the way they communicate with their tax software is by printing tax returns directly into OfficeTools, into the tax returns, and then from there, like I said, we send it to the client on through that portal. The Lacert integration, however, does allow for a little bit more. For instance, if I go into the contact information and I change a phone number, update an address, something like that, OfficeTools will update Outlook automatically. It will update QuickBooks. You can be prompted, just like with Lacert here, or you can have it do it silently in the background for you. Obviously, if the return is locked, that's one thing, but otherwise, it will go ahead and update Lacert with that new information, as well as QuickBooks and Outlook. Also, with that Lacert integration, we are able to bring in the invoice amount. So if you're using that fee calculation in Lacert, we can bring it in and create the invoice out of here. But again, we do have clients using a variety of tax software alongside OfficeTools. We are the type of software that does play well with others. All right, let's see if we have any more questions here before we wrap up. If you've got any questions, now's the time. Let me see here. Well, it doesn't look like we have any other questions. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about exactly how we can find out a little bit more information about OfficeTools and how we're going to go ahead and request that personal demonstration that I talked about. I've actually got a slide for that. So let me go ahead and pull that up. So what do we do now? Now we've seen OfficeTools, we've heard John Michael talk about it. What do we do now? So to request a personal web demonstration, you can go to our website, OfficeTools.com. You can look at reviews and case studies that we've done, and videos and interviews that we've done with our clients. And you can also, right there on as soon as you sign on to the website, you're going to see the option to request a personal web demo. And then somebody will reach out, they'll contact you, they'll set up a day and a time for you to talk to somebody like myself or any of the other representatives over here at OfficeTools to get that personal online demonstration. And like I said, we want to find out a little bit about your firm. We want to make sure that our software can meet the needs of your firm. We want to make sure that we can, whether it's on the desktop or it's in the private cloud, that you are well taken care of. Or you can go ahead and give us a call, 888-678-8440. And my time is up, so I want to thank everybody for attending today. Please feel free to reach out to us, and you all have a great day. And if you're stateside, have a wonderful Thanksgiving.